Hello there, and welcome back to a new video of ours. Firstly, we want to thank you for watching our videos. We really enjoy making them, and we hope you enjoy watching them just as much. Today, we are going to tackle some of the many abbreviations used in regulatory affairs. This video is excellent for those who are starting in the field or those who are simply curious. But to the experts watching us, you might want to stick around. Maybe you'll learn some new aspects or nuances to these abbreviations. Remember to like this video if you learned something new and subscribe if you want to see more of us. Without further ado, let's dive in with the first abbreviation. The EFR. This abbreviation stands for European Fertilizer Regulation, though the complete title of that regulation reads Regulation (EU) 2019-1009 of the European Parliament and of the Council of 5th of June 2019, laying down rules on the making available on the market of EU fertilizing products and amending regulations (EC) number 1069 2009 and EC number 1107 2009 and repealing regulation EC number 2003-2003. This regulation, as the name suggests, is the EU level regulation that governs not only fertilizers but now also biostimulants. That name was painful to read. On a quick side note, when we talk about a EU level regulation, it means that that regulation is enforced in all of the EU member states, hence why there is a distinction between the EFR and national legislation, which, as the name suggests, are only enforced in that specific country. If you want to place your fertilizer or biostimulant in Europe, the EFR is going to be your first reference point when it comes to product compliance, and hence an abbreviation you'll hear a lot. Now, the GAP stands for Good Agricultural Practice, and most often it is used in the context of plant protection products. That's where you'll hear a lot about the GAP table, and this is one of the most important parts of any crop protection product dossier, as it details everything there is to know about the product's uses. You can learn more about the GAP table in our previous video about efficacy trials, where we dive in deeper than here into that subject. So as to, for instance, how it is set up, why it is so important, and how to get it set up correctly so that it is accepted by the authorities. We'll leave a link to that video for you in the description box below. GLP. The GLP stands for Good Laboratory Practice, and this essentially englobes all the details concerning how the studies, as for example, efficacy studies and trials, but also chemical testing, has been done. That includes every aspect of the methodology of these studies and testing, such as their planning, monitoring, report writing, etc. The GLP essentially is there to validate that the data recorded was gained properly and that nothing was altered to favor a wished outcome. GLP trials of laboratory reports differ, for instance, in practical terms, from company internal screening trials or laboratory reports. An important feature of a GLP laboratory test report, for example, is that you can't change it and hence tamper with the results, even not with Adobe. Now we are coming to the famous CLP, or which the full title reads, and let's watch out because this is a mouthful, the regulation, EC number 1272/2008 of the European Parliament and of the Council of the 16th of December 2008 on classification, labeling and packaging of substances and mixtures, amending and repealing directives 67/548/EEC 1999/45/EC and amending regulations (EC) number 1907/2006, on which we have organized 2 trainings and stands in short for Classification, Labeling, and Packaging Regulation, which is much better. Oh my god, this video is tough. Anyway, this EU regulation details how products are classified. And it is a rather complex topic, so should you need any help with the classification of your products, we are there to help you. You can reach out to us through our website, and we'll help you get your products correctly classified and labeled in accordance with the CLP. Back to the CLP, because that was our little promotion. The CLP classification is important to figure out because it will dictate the labeling and packaging requirements to lawfully place your products on the European market. Now, something more simple and easier name to say is the EC mark, which stands for European Conformity. And we use it in the context of the EFR, or the European Fertilizer Regulation, as we've seen earlier on in this video. This mark, so the CE mark, is only achieved by demonstrating compliance of a fertilizer product with the EFR, be it through assessing it via Module A or via the help of a notification body for other modules. About the notification body, we have several videos which are interviews which we had with one of the European notification bodies, SATRUST, who is based in Hungary. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check them out in our YouTube page. You'll find them relatively easily. Anyways, the EC mark is necessary to be able to be present on the market in the entirety of the EU at once with your product. So should you need any help with that, again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're there to help. Next is the CMS. And this is often used in the context of plant protection products and the authorization procedure in Europe. And it stands for Concerned Member State. It is used in the context of biocontrol products and authorization procedures at the EU level. A CMS, or a concerned member state, is always in relation to a rapporteur member state, or a RMS. So while you always need a RMS, you don't necessarily need to pick one or more CMS. CMS countries are countries that will be involved in the authorization process, but not doing the hardcore evaluation work that the RMS, the rapporteur member state, does. So a concerned member state concept is important if you want your authorization to be valid in that country as soon as the authorization is issued by the RMS. Next on our list is the CMC, or the Component Material Categories. These are often used in the context of the European Fertilizer Regulation, and they represent categories of starting materials that you may use to make your fertilizer. The CMC come with specific quality and safety requirements which are set out in the EFR, and they are important factors in the compliance check for fertilizer within the EFR. So typical CMCs under the European Fertilizer Regulation are, for instance, fresh crop digestate, or CMC4, or compost, CMC3, or microorganisms, which are CMCs 7. However, the devil is in the detail, and we highly recommend you check these CMCs in detail before you conclude on the compliance of your fertilizer with the EFR. Next is the IPM, and it is used in the context of agriculture and crop growing and stands for Integrated Pest Management. IPM is best described by a more comprehensive approach to pest or weed control, putting in place various management strategies and practices, for instance, using beneficial insects. IPM aims at minimizing the use of pesticides, certainly the ones qualified as conventional chemical pesticides, and to favor biocontrol products that are, for instance, compatible with the use of beneficial insects. IPM puts in practice pest identification and quantification before applying a pesticide. For instance, Only once a certain pest threshold is reached, an appropriate pesticide would be applied. It's in complete contrast to, for instance, preventive application of some chemicals. Now to a more macabre abbreviation, which is the LD50. LD stands for lethal dose, and LD50 means more specifically the dose that would be needed to kill 50% of the test population. So yes, that is pretty gruesome, but it's a validated and long-used reference dose in toxicity studies. We need this value in the context of pesticides and biopesticides to be able to see how toxic they are. The LD50 is different for every substance and has to be determined, if it has not already done, for every pesticidal active substance. Now to the 1107/2009 regulation, which you will hear often, and it refers to the European regulation governing pesticides in the European Union. And it is exactly called, so the full name is, watch out, Regulation, parentheses EC number 1107/2009 of the European Parliament and of the Council of the 21st of October 2009 concerning the of plant protection products on the market and repealing Council Directives 79/117 EEC and 91/414 EEC. As this is a pretty long name, it is usually referred to as 1107, and it covers pesticides and biopesticides in the EU. Now, thankfully, all the long names should be over and done with. Next, we have the PPP, stands for Plant Protection Products in our practice. Hence, when we refer to PPPs, we mean plant protection products or crop protection products, who are also commonly abbreviated as CPP, be it for pest or weed control or even indoor uses, such as sprouting prevention. All PPPs are regulated under the Regulation 1107. Now, we are at our last main abbreviation, which is the MSDS. And MSDS stands for Safety Material Data Sheet. This document is needed in a regulatory dossier where there are dangerous components in the product. And even if your product is not classified according to the CLP, very often member states request an MSDS. This data sheet essentially provides information on the hazards of a substance or product and how they should be handled. Handling of the product does not only mean how the farmer handles it when using it on his crops, but also how to transport it and how to dispose of the container that held the product. Now, there are many more abbreviations commonly used when setting up PPP dossiers, such as ZRMS, which stands for Zonal Rapporteur Member State, which is, for instance, it is one of the European member states that will evaluate a product for itself, and other countries in the same zone, or for all zones in case of greenhouse or indoor uses, in which case it will be called an IZRMS, for interzonal rapporteur members. Now, all the links mentioned will be down below in the comments for you to check out and learn further about agricultural regulatory affairs. Let us know in the comments if you have any other abbreviations to add, or if you didn't know some of the abbreviations we covered today. All of that down below in the comments. We enjoy reading it. Now, we thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out our website and our other socials, such as our LinkedIn. And on our website, you can also subscribe to our newsletter, which provides regular updates about the biostimulant legislations in Europe, and now more recently also outside of Europe, and also news and events concerning our company. And we wish you a beautiful day. See you soon. The sciBASICS team.